Hi everyone, welcome back to Adulting with Dion, where we try to clear some doubts about adulting. Grab a drink, take a seat, and let's begin. Today, let's talk about being a world-class cabin crew. And also, you realize we upgraded. We have a second camera for those of you who are watching on YouTube or watching on Spotify. Yeah, some of my friends didn't know this, but you can watch videos on Spotify as well, even though it's a podcast. Okay, continuing from last week's episode on becoming a cabin crew, let's talk about the work itself, about being a cabin crew. And whether is it really a glamorous life, a glamorous way of living, and spilling all the tea about being a cabin crew. There will be a Q&A portion where I try to answer my most asked questions and towards the end of the podcast, so stay tuned for that. And let's begin. Let's begin with the training of cabin crew, which will last about 69 days. Yeah, that's roughly like 3 months, and they might have changed that, I'm not really sure, but it is a high stress environment where you are expected to do your best. I remember the first day I was almost late, and oh my god, that was so stressful. I was coming from Jurong, which is the west side of Singapore, yeah, and the training center is all the way at the east, which is insane. But please don't be late, especially for the first day. You want to be extra early because you don't know where are the rooms, the classroom, and where to report also. So yeah, don't be late. First day, you'll be overloaded with information. Okay, information like the iconic kabaya is designed by the world-renowned Pierre Balmain. Yeah, the founder of the Parisian brand Balmain. So the first day they will feed you information, little fun facts about Singapore Airlines, and you might get a little bit overwhelmed since it's your first day and you don't really know what to expect. But take notes, just write everything down. I used to compare the training at STC. STC stands for Singapore Airlines Training Center. I used to compare the training at STC to cadet training at OCS, which is Officer Cadet School, during my national service days. It is not as physical, but it is so much more mental. You have to greet everybody you see when you walk past. You have to greet with eye contact and a genuine smile. That part was alright with me, but I did have a little culture shock when we did like a batch greeting. Okay, for those of you who don't understand, let me explain that to you. So in STC, our class, we refer to a class of people as a batch. So you're like batch 1, batch 2, batch 3, you know. And then whenever we see people, we have to greet them and smile genuinely, everything like that. Things get interesting when two batches meet each other. So we don't go like, oh, good morning, good morning, good morning. Everybody go good morning to each other. We do it as a batch. Each of the batches have to pick one in charge to go forward and then ask the other batch, oh, what is your batch number? And who is your trainer that is training you right now? We want to greet, them. So we exchange information, and then, so for example, like batch 12 meet batch 9, okay? Then batch 9 will have to go after getting the information, they will have to go, the person in charge will have to go batch 9, let's greet batch 12 and Mr. Tan, a very good morning, batch. That's what they're saying. So batch is like a cue for the whole class or the whole batch to greet together. Then after batch, then good morning, Mr. Tan and batch 12, something like that. Okay, and then the batch 12 have to do it back to batch 9. That was a pretty culture shock for me. That was freaking ridiculous. That was insane. It is equivalent to tiam the whole company to salute an officer, something like that. But then you do it as a batch. So next level. Not next level, but a different kind of thing. But so that was the only thing where I was like, okay, interesting. Yeah. Self-discipline is very important during the training phase. You have to make sure your hair is neat, your attire is neat, your product knowledge is up to par, the way you speak according to service language, and the way you walk and the way you present yourself generally. I find it helpful when batchmates help each other, so I tend to help my batchmates a lot, and then whenever I need help, I will also ask them for help. So be helpful, because you never know when you will need the help. I did have a few foreign crew from Japan, Thailand, and Malaysia. And for some of them, English is not their first language, so things can be quite difficult for them to process. So that's when we come in and then like, oh, so Singaporeans have a way of saying things that are interesting, that don't really make sense, so we have to make sense for them. So that's more or less like training school. Things get very different once you graduate from training school. It is like going from studying at secondary school to a polytechnic, or going from a JC to a university where you can wear whatever you want and you like nobody is there to like watch you like a hawk. So things are very different when you're flying compared to training school, because sometimes you do get away with things that you like make mistakes and then you apologize to passenger, and then if the passenger don't complain, you get away with it, sort of. The first 6 months is probation. I'm not sure if they have changed that. There is also like express probation as well. So for those that are like high flyers or they perform very well during the probation, they do get like express like route where they graduate from probation earlier, like maybe 2 or 3 months earlier. But the standard probation is like 6 months. And during these 6 months, I think it's quite difficult for the crew because you are questioned a lot. You will be watched by the leaders like a hawk almost. You will be questioned about your knowledge, your product knowledge, and then when you make mistakes, they also like kind of fault you for that, where you just graduate from training school and you don't remember this kind of thing, something like that. So it can be quite stressful still, but it is only after probation that's where things get interesting, because you become a senior and then like people just let you, like the crew just let you do whatever you want to do. And I guess like with experience, you get to voice out your opinions and how you do things. And when you're more junior, you don't dare to do so, because then the seniors will like correct you. And then when more juniors come in, the leaders will change their focus from you to them. Yeah, so now they are focused on them. I would say like on board, there are not so many problems at all. It's not like every single flight we have problem with the passengers. And mind you, I would say this, and I think my crew friends will agree, most of the problems don't come from the passengers. They come from the crew. I guess it's the way they want to do things. Like some of the leaders or some of the crew, they have a specific way of like working, and if you don't follow their way of working, they are not happy. And there are so many different ways of doing things. You sort of have to change the way you work, your methods, to suit them, and sometimes it's just a little bit annoying. So yeah, I think being a cabin crew, it is very much about your people management skill. It is how you manage their emotions, how you manage their work, and also how you manage their expectations as well. Basically just how you manage people lah. Okay, being a cabin crew, that's the most essential skill that you should have. And if you are not a sociable person, that might be a problem, but you have to be sociable at work. So for that 5 hours or 6 hours or 10 hours on board the flight, you have to be sociable towards the passengers and also the crew. So their mentality is that you cannot be an introvert on board and then not talk to your colleagues, because these are the people that you're working with. You don't want to come off as rude or antisocial, or you're just not friendly. And to be friendly is sort of to talk and make friends, I think. Yeah, something like that. I'm not sure if you understand me, but like that. So in the company, there's this thing called high Soarer. So high Soarer are people that really do their very best. They will read up on the product knowledge. We have this thing called knowledge quiz called KQ, which is something that we have to do every year to make sure that our product knowledge is like updated and is refreshed, and we know what we are doing. And it can be like anything. It can be like what is good to go with white wine, or what is good to go with red wine, or what is this cheese, what is the name of this cheese, and it's all multiple choice questions, so you do get to choose now, okay? And also you can like sort of memorize the questions, but they have a question bank where like they have hundreds of questions, so you might get different questions on like different times. So and then like these high Soarers, they are either very very friendly or very 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 scary. So there are those people that put you down just so that they can step on you to get higher. For example, like if you make a mistake and then they catch you, it is a chance for them to be like, oh, I caught Dion doing this, like informing the leader lah. I caught Dion doing this, but I corrected him already. I let him know that this is wrong, and then the right way is to do this, and then in the leader's like view, of course, this person is like, oh, it's very good. You're like acting like a leader. You have the leader potential to go and tell your junior what is right and things like that, which can be quite annoying. Like, it's the real world lah. Okay, I would say it is the real world. It's not only on board, but like in office as well. People do that. So you kind of want to manage your expectations. Yeah. Let's talk about the workflow of a cabin crew. So it's very irregular. So depending on what time is your flight, so it can be like 2 a.m., it can be 6 a.m., it can be 7 a.m., it can be 10 a.m., it can be 2 p.m., it can be 5 p.m., it can be 7 p.m., it can be 10 p.m., okay? It doesn't matter. So whatever flight that you get, that's the time that you're supposed to report. So like 2 hours before the flight departure time, we'll have to report to Changi Airport for the briefing. And then in this briefing, we basically talk about what is the flight time, what is the flight hours. We get to know the crew. This is our first time meeting the crew. Some of them, if you're lucky enough, you get to fly with like the same person 2 times, like twice. But most of the flights you fly with like new people. I have something on my hand. This is like homework. These are like homework that we have to do before we go for the flight. So some things that we write down is like the flight number, the terminal that the plane is departing from, what is the meals, what are the meals available. We write down the names of our crew because we don't know the name, right? And then we have to like sort of match their face with their names. Yeah, you want to know who is your boss, you want to know how many passengers are on board, things like that. I have like the breakfast, the meal. These are the meals that we are serving, kind of thing. Breakfast or lunch or dinner or anything like that. So the briefing is 2 hours before the flight departure time, and then I think exactly 1 hour and 10 minutes before the flight departs, we have to be there. Cabin crew have to be there to start preparing the plane for departure. So for guys, we usually work in the galley, and for the ladies, they are the one that are serving in the cabin and welcoming the passengers. Okay, so for preparing of the plane, it can be like preparing the newspapers, heating up the towels are back, preparing the meals for business class. It can be rearranging our workstation. It can be anything. We have an entire list of things to do before we go, before we welcome the passengers. So it can get a little bit crazy, especially like business class. Business class, we do have like ground drinks, like champagne, orange juice, beer. No, is there beer? No, there's no beer. Champagne, orange juice, things like that we have to serve on the ground when the passengers come up. When the passengers eventually do come up, we welcome them, stow their bags, make sure they're seated at the right seats. Okay, safety video will go up, and then we do our cabin check. So cabin check, we check for safety, make sure the window shades are up, the bags are stowed nicely, and then the plane takes off, and maybe we serve a meal. Depending on what flight you're on, maybe there is drinks, drink service. So there are some times where the crew do get to rest in between the meals. So like if the flight is too long, the crew will get to rest in the plane. I think if I'm not wrong, it's like above 9 hours, you get to sleep at least 1 hour. So for like longer flights, you get more rest. So if you are flying to New York, which is the world's longest flight, I think it's around 18 to 19 hours. Cabin crew do get to rest like 2 shifts, so 2 times. I think one time is like 4 hours, something like that. And yeah, so after the flight, we will depart the plane, go to customs, and then take the bus to go to the hotel, check in the hotel, and then we get to rest. That's my favorite part, okay? I joined Singapore Airlines to fly, to travel, okay? I love it when I check into the hotel, immediately I will go out, okay? I will change, I will bathe, prepare myself, and then I'll head out. Be it like for sightseeing, going out for food, for lunch, meet friends. I always go out once I checked into the hotel, unless it is nighttime. So generally, I do follow timing of the local country that I'm at. I touch down in like 1 p.m. I will follow their timing and go out and have lunch. But if I touch down at like 10 p.m., then I'll probably go to sleep once we checked in, because I do want to follow the timing of the local country, just so that I can do the activities that they're doing in that place. Yeah. Depending on where you're at, sometimes we stay 2 days, sometimes we stay 1 day. Regional countries, like Japan, China, we do stay for like 1 day. And for like even closer countries, KL, Vietnam, these are all turnaround. Bangkok, these are all turnarounds. Turnarounds are you do a flight to go there, then you do a flight to come back. So there's no staying in that country itself. Yeah, so I do plan my activities that I want to do in that country, like always. I always plan like what to do, where to explore, and I go like quite in depth. So if I am going Paris, I love Paris. I will go to like Disneyland, I'll go to the Louvre Museum, I'll go to the Eiffel Tower. I remember the first time when I went to Paris, it is after COVID, and it was my first time going Paris after being in the airline for so long. The first time I was there, I did so many things. I went to the Louvre, I went to the Eiffel Tower, I went to the Versailles Palace, the castle. Is it Palace? Palace. I essentially went to do all the touristy stuff and then like hit all the touristy attractions. I went to do all the activities that are more touristy first, then to like realize that after that I got like more Paris flights. But not complaining, I love Paris. Just that the first time I was there, I was so damn tired because I did not sleep. I just went out and chung and then do all the touristy stuff immediately. Yeah, so after you get to rest in the city or the country, you fly back and then you sort of repeat the whole thing again until you reach home. Yeah, so after the flight, right, it depends. Sometimes we get 2 days off, sometimes we get 1 day off. So as a cabin crew, we do get a lot of like off days compared to like typical office work. Yeah, because if you fly a lot, if you fly long distances, you get like longer off days. So maybe 2 days, maybe 3 days sometimes. If we do like 4 sector flights, so 4 sector flights are flights that goes to 2 countries. So from Singapore, you go to maybe Japan, that's 1 flight. Then from Japan, you go to USA, that's 1 flight. From USA, you go back to Japan. From Japan, you fly back to Singapore, so there's 4 flights. So that's a 4 sector flight. And from that, right, after you come back, I think it's like maybe a 3-day break, something like that. 3 or 2 days, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So during the off day, you are basically free to do whatever you want. In the layover, like when you're in overseas, you are also free to do whatever you want, as long as you go for the next flight coming back. Like in between that time frame, you can do whatever you want. So that was very nice. That was amazing. I love the life, but of course not very sustainable because I like I said, I do not sleep. Yeah, like I do not sleep a lot when I'm overseas. I remember there was once I went to Beijing. I really wanted to climb the Great Wall of China. I did a video, like if you're on YouTube, okay, click the little tabs above, don't know which corner, it'll come out. I went to climb Great Wall of China. I slept for maybe like 3 hours, 3 or 4 hours. The entire period of the flight, of the layover. I was so tired, but it was so worth it. Like, I love it. But my body was like ruined. And then I guess long-term wise, I can't really do that. We get this thing where it's called standby call-up. So you will be on standby the entire day, depending. Like sometimes it's a period of time, sometimes it's the entire day. You are standby to be called up for a flight, like anytime. So you're free to do whatever you want. But once you're called up for the flight, you have to report to the flight at the specific timing. So it can be 1 hour later, or it can be like 30 minutes later. It can be you report to the aircraft immediately for like urgent cases. Sometimes not, mostly not. So this is like kind of like a bad part about being a cabin crew, because you have to be on standby. So sometimes cabin crew, they don't want to go out just in case they get called up for a flight and then they have to rush. I personally don't really like to go out when I'm on standby, because the chances of you getting called up is quite high back then. But then now I think things are better, so you don't really get called up as much, which is good. Yeah, that means there are more crew to go for the flights. And also, this is a rumor, alleged. If you stay closer to the east, you will get called up to flights that are departing like earlier. But if you stay in the west, you will get called up for flights that are departing later in the evening, like later from like the time that you get called up, because you do need time to prepare, which makes sense, I think. So like those flights that are urgent, that need people within like 30 minutes or 1 hour, they usually call like the east people because they are located nearer to the airport. Yeah, that is bad if you stay in the east. Yeah. Oh, there's this big thing that might be good or might be bad, depending on how you see it. Like SQ has this SQ culture, like inbuilt in the company. So it's like a company culture kind of thing, but for like cabin crew. Like they're kind of weird sometimes, but like they always can find reasons to back up why they do this. So just to give you some example, you have to offer your fellow crew a cup of drink whenever they go to your area of work. So the plane is divided into classes, so business class, economy class, or first class, or premium economy, and then you are allocated specific galley to work from. And like someone from business class maybe goes up to economy class to get something, you have to like ask them, you have to offer a drink, so like imbued the culture of offering passengers drinks as well, but you do that to your crew. That culture I understand. Yeah, and there's also a culture of waiting for crew as well. So after the flight, we do wait for each other before we move off at the airport. Before we alight the bus, we wait for each other at the customs so that we walk together, so that people don't get lost. Sometimes it's their first time in the country, you don't know. Oh, there's something that I don't like. Like when you are a junior crew, so like maybe the first month or second month of flying, you are like sort of expected to like go for crew meals, like dinner and lunch together with the crew, so that you can talk to them and like maybe get more experience talking, like chatting with them to get more work experience. But then it's like, to me, I'm like, don't touch my time, I'm not working anymore. Yes, even though I'm on company's time, but like, no, this is my time to like explore London, explore Beijing. No, I don't want to eat with people that are like scolding me. So like sometimes if they're nice, if the crew are genuinely nice, yes, of course, let's go and have duck rice in gold mine in London. Like, I don't mind, it is alright. But sometimes they are mean crew. They are crew that are like not nice, and then they'll come up to you like, do you know junior crew are sort of expected to have meals with the senior crew so that they can get more experiences from us? I'm like, no. Like, what the hell? Like, no. I remember my first time to London. I did a flight with my batch girl, Fanny. Let me include a photo of us, like here. This is Fanny. Okay, this is our first time going to London. We were like so excited, super excited to go London for the first time. And then we know that our batch girl, like another batch girl, she's at London. So we are planning to go there and meet her and have dinner. Because I remember we touched down at like 7 p.m, something like that. So we were super excited to go London. When we check in the hotel, the senior crew, one of them, I still remember his name. That's how petty I am. I still remember. I think Penny still remembers his name as well. So he comes to us. It's like, we're having dinner later. You guys want to join us? Then me and Fanny, I was like, oh, sorry, we're meeting our friend for dinner. So yeah, you guys can go ahead. Then they were like, you're having dinner with who? You all already have plans? Yeah, we're having a dinner with our batch girl who is already here. So he said something like very weird and like indirect, I guess. He was saying, you should be eating with the crew that you fly in with, not the crew that is already here. You know, flying back, right? You're flying back with us, not with your batch girl. What do you mean? Yeah, I know we are flying back together, but like what are you saying? And then I replied, so sorry, like we already made plans. So, I mean, we are going for lunch tomorrow, right? I remember. We were going for lunch tomorrow. So this is like touchdown 7 p.m. The next day, we were planning to go for lunch because not everyone wants to have dinner. Once they touch down, they want to sleep. This guy was like, we can have dinner and lunch together, like on separate, on like both days. No, thank you. We're going for dinner with my batch. Well, we're going for dinner. Thank you so much. We will meet you guys for lunch tomorrow. Something like I was like that. That was annoying. There are like situations like this where you do have to put a face or put a front that is not really true. Yeah, actually a lot of times you have to be like, oh, I'm so sorry, I don't remember doing this, or like, oh, thank you so much for telling me this. For a moment I cannot remember. One good thing about being a cabin crew is not only you get to travel, you are paid to travel, and you are paid pretty much a lot. Like, I would say it's not bad for a diploma graduate or a higher NITEC graduate. The pay is good, but temporarily only good. I wouldn't say that it's good long term, because the career progression and the pay increment is kind of low and it's kind of slow. So yeah, but if you don't have a high educational level, then it's very good. Like, it's amazing, I would say. Yeah. Fanny is a Thai crew, by the way. Yeah. And talking about foreign crew, we do have a lot of cabin crew from different countries. So we do have cabin crew from China, from Hong Kong, from Taiwan, from Thailand, from Malaysia, from India, from Japan, from Korea, where else? Indonesia. I think that's all. Like, mainly these 9 countries. I am not sure if they are from other countries that I cannot remember. And for male crew, the demand is lower, so they're only from Singapore and Malaysia. And actually, last time we have like cabin crew from Taiwan, so Taiwanese male cabin crew. I think there are still some of them that are flying, just that we don't actively recruit new cabin crew from Taiwan for now. Maybe they have, I'm not sure. Yeah. So I mentioned in the previous episode also that I did special duties in the office for a year. So that's something that cabin crew can take up during their time as a cabin crew. It is a special contract for you to be office staff. Yeah. So you do get to like work in marketing department, you can work in the comms department, you can work in cabin crew department. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah, so I did that during COVID, like before the borders opened. That was quite fun because you do get to work behind the scenes and see how they plan campaigns and stuff. And I actually I did like designing for like campaigns, the posters and like giveaways. I have one of them here actually. So ta-da! This is a pouch that I designed. So it's supposed to be like a makeup pouch for like our grooming campaign. So grooming campaign is to motivate people to have good grooming standards, or to remind people what are the grooming standards for Singapore Airlines cabin crew. So, ta-da, this is very nice, right? So, like, one of the bad things is that I have to design, I have to look for a supplier, I have to source the materials by myself, I have to do everything almost by myself. For one campaign, I can be the designer of the posters of the giveaway. I have to do the marketing for the campaign, do up the website that is in our company website, do up a page. Yeah, I have to write out articles about the campaign, and then I have to think of activities to do for the campaign, like maybe play games or do quizzes. And during the campaign period itself, I have to run the campaign. But of course, these are done with a group of people. Like designing is all me, and then on top of that, I do other stuff also. So back then, right, I felt that I was like a little bit underpaid. I was like doing a lot of things. I was a photographer, videographer, designer, marketing. I was comms, so doing a lot of things at once, which is also why I didn't continue with special duties. It was a 1-year thing, and I didn't extend the contract. I went back to flying. But also, lo and behold, I went back flying and I realized I don't really like flying anymore. I don't really like flying anymore after I went back, because when I went back, I was trained for business class. Things were very different. I don't like how, as guys, we have so much work to do compared to the ladies who are serving in the cabin. I don't like how I sort of was pushed into like business class without getting my momentum back. Because I was in special duties for 1 year, so I didn't really get to fly much, right? Even before I went back flying, I was really trained for business class. Like during my time in office, I was training for business class. Once I went back, I was flying in business class. And I don't really have experience flying in economy, like refresh. I didn't get to refresh my memories in economy class. Then I'm already working in business class. And I'm like, what is even happening? Yeah, but of course, I have a lot of reasons why I didn't want to stay. It wasn't a long-term plan for me. It was a 2 years thing for me to save up money to go back to get a university degree, which is what I'm doing now. I'm doing a part-time degree in communications at Singapore University of Social Sciences. Yep. That will be episode 5 of this podcast, my degree. It's actually a sponsored degree by SAFRA, Singapore Armed Forces Recreational Association. Thank you, SAFRA, for sponsoring my degree. Yeah. Anyways, today we're talking about cabin crew. Some things that are interesting to non-airline people. Cabin crew are not allowed to wear uniform and take public transport. One of the reasons is that they don't want you to be seen like sleeping in like the trains or the bus. It can be quite unglam, especially for the ladies when they are in their kabaya, the iconic kabaya. So you don't see anyone in kabaya in public transport other than in Jewel. You do get to see them going for like a quick dinner or lunch after the flight. You cannot wear spectacles when you're on board. When we're working, they're not allowed to wear spectacles. They have to wear contact lens, maybe for like safety reasons, because you don't want to like fall down during turbulence and then you hit your eye or something like that. Aesthetic reasons as well. You look better without spectacles. Okay, I think I have come to the end of this podcast. I'm gonna answer some questions before I end it officially. Okay, here are some questions that I get from being a cabin crew. These questions are asked a lot on my TikTok, on my Lemonade, as well as Instagram. So let me just try to answer them. Yeah. Someone asked me, what made you join Singapore Airlines as a cabin crew? I would say my cousin. My cousin is a stewardess. She has been flying for super long. Okay, and I have childhood neighbors that were also stewardesses, and they seemed like they're enjoying life back then. And the whole idea of flying and traveling and being paid is amazing. Which is why I wanted to do it, but maybe short term. Wanted to join SQ, but is the culture really toxic? Is it bearable, and how you cope with it? if you want to try being a cabin crew, I think you should. The culture is not as toxic as people put out to be. Yeah, so like out of maybe 10 flights, you get like 1 or 2 flights that are bad with like toxic crew. And I think like workplace toxicity is like everywhere. It's not only in SQ. So it's really how you want to manage people. And for me, right, I manage it pretty well, I guess, to be able to be in SQ office and also fly and everything. I guess I did a pretty good job, I guess I would say. I like to say that for the guys who have served NS before, SQ, if you survive NS, you can survive SQ. So they're pretty similar in a way. What are the work positions in the flight? So there are basically 3 work positions. So either you're a supervisor, which is a leader, a complex leader, or a galley crew, or you work in the cabin. So these 3. And then they are split into different classes. So for economy and premium economy, you do get to see the junior crew. And for business class, you do get to see the more senior blue tie. So the blue ties are the lowest in rank. Okay. So the 4 ranks. There are 4 ranks in cabin crew. So the first one is blue. Okay. Then you get green, red, then purple. So blue is your flight steward and stewardesses. Then moving up, green is the complex leader. So these are the ranking crew. These are the leading stewardess and leading stewards. Then you go to red is chief stewardess or stewardesses. Then stewardesses. Then at the end we have purple. Purple is in-flight manager. So purple there's usually 1 per flight. The rest are all more than 1 usually. Sometimes only 1 for red. And so an interesting way for you to like sort of memorize or know it, right, is the Singapore note. $2, $5, $10, then $100 for purple. $100 purple? No, blue or $50. I can't remember. Okay, yeah. I do have a list of stories to tell whenever I meet my friends or like when people want to know about my SQ stories. Ta-da! I have this entire list of stories to tell. So these are all like essentially memories of me flying, and they are like very funny and very interesting, which is why I like recorded them. There is a child peeing in a bottle and how I solved the problem. Okay, there is being followed in Dubai Mall by this Middle Eastern guy. There is getting searched in New York, and then they found a bath bomb in my bag, and I didn't know how to explain bath bomb without using the word bomb. So that's interesting. Yeah, so if I don't write down, I wouldn't have remembered. Yeah, so this is an entire list. Let me know if you guys want to know the stories. So yeah, I don't know if you guys are convinced to join Singapore Airlines as a cabin crew or convinced not to, like otherwise. I hope I do not scare you guys away, but I really like flying, and I think that everyone should give it a try because it's amazing, like being able to travel for free. Yeah, and if you are someone that likes to travel and be alone, it's amazing. Yeah. So I mentioned in the previous episode that there is a walk-in interview at Suntec City on the 27th of April. It's a Saturday for cabin crew, for Singapore Airlines cabin crew. So if you guys want to join Singapore Airlines, this is your chance to go for the walk-in interview and give it a try. Someone asked me if they are from Malaysia, if they can go. Just give it a try. Like, I think you should. If you stay at JB, just come down and try for the interview, because I don't know when they're gonna hold an interview in KL next, and that's very far for a Johorian. Yeah, and I think with the right documents, I think they can just pass you and process your documents, even though they did say like Singapore citizen and PR only. But yeah, give it a try. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you learn a thing or two, or just simply enjoy the entire podcast. Do let me know if you have any questions or topic that you would like me to talk about. Feel free to slide into my DMs on Instagram and TikTok, or Lemonade at Dion. That is Diongdion. And for those of you who don't know, Dion comes from my name and my surname combined. It is Dion Ong, so we just combine together the ONGON is Dion. If you're watching on YouTube, please help me like, share, subscribe, and also leave a comment to help me boost the algorithm. Thank you so much. And if you are listening on Spotify, please give me a 5-star rating. Thank you so much. And that's all for today. Goodbye. On the next episode, we are talking about my coming out story. Stay tuned. Bye. And whether it is really this, and whether is it really? Someone asked me what made you join Singapore